ba 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 ba. Yeah. Put the output. Oh my God! Please stop.
There you go. Welcome.
Hey,
to another episode of On the Record. Or is it On the Record?
on the record, we've done
On
so
the
many
record.
of these at this
presented
point.
by Storm Chasers Limited. On the record with Storm Chasers. On the record with Storm Chasers Limited. We decided we wanted to so this is, first of all, I lied. This is not another episode. This is the first episode. I lied. I started off with a lie. I know. I
Just a
couldn't help
little,
it.
just a little lie.
Just a little
Just a
tiny,
little
just as a
tiny
treat.
bite.
Just
Just a
you know,
little
just,
treat.
it's good to
Little
be
treat.
bad. Sometimes it's good to be bad.
I agree.
You know? Anyway, we've we've realized that we're up to like 65 releases, and
Wow.
a lot of the stuff we've done, especially what we're going to talk about today, but we've done a lot that you guys maybe don't know about or aren't familiar with, or was years and years and years ago that we've never told the stories about, that we've never talked about how they were made or what was going on at the time.
Rich history.
We got rich history.
Wow, that would have been a better name.
Rich history.
Rich history.
With
Are we
Storm
changing
Chasers
the name?
Limited. Whoa, Jesus! Should we change the name now?
You vote.
You vote. You tell us in the
You-
comments if you like On the Record or Rich History,
Dude, Rich
and we'll
History.
probably come up with another name before
Yeah.
the show's over that we could be calling
That's
this.
true.
Um,
And this is our prototype. This is the pilot.
yeah,
So
we're just figuring it out. You
we-
should see. You can't see what we see,
you can't
but
see
what
this.
we see
It's crazy.
is crazy.
It's pretty crazy. I made something. I made this. I made a media cart. Like, you're gonna get transported back into like 6th grade. The gym teacher is covering for mathematics, and this rolls in.
Can you star wipe with this?
Maybe.
I hope there's just plenty of star wipes
That's right.
across this. We've added video as well.
Yeah.
We weren't planning on it, and who knows, maybe it won't work. But if it does, star wipe.
Everyone's. You know what? It's gonna be better than Star Wipes. It's gonna be. We're gonna. This is.
That
the
could be
pilot.
another name of the show.
Star
Wipes.
Star Wipes. I think the beauty of this is that this is the first episode, so you're gonna see the evolution of what this is.
Yeah.
With us. 'Cause we're
Sometimes-
gonna make it better.
Some days we'll be recording episodes. We'll be in great moods.
That's right.
Other times we'll be recording episodes. We'll be in bad moods.
But we're gonna make each other feel better.
We're gonna make
while
each other
doing
feel
it.
better. Talking about emo history.
That's right. And I've been talking a lot to the if you're a Patreon subscriber, thank you so much for being here. If you're not, maybe you want to be, but
Maybe
the
you
thing
should.
is- yeah,
maybe you could.
Maybe
this
tell a
isn't
friend.
this isn't a Storm Chasers pledge drive. I assure
Right.
you.
It's not yet. But I will say I might have the voice for that. But I've been
the NPR voice.
but I've been telling everybody, hey, I'm gonna upgrade my stuff. I'm gonna make this more legit. Rick is gonna get legit. It took 4 years, but we're here. Isn't that nice?
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what this podcast is, let's be real. What we're doing here is we're going to go through each and every Storm Chasers release. We're going to talk about its background, what the band was about, what the record was all about, how it was made, what the artwork process was like. We're going to go through each one. We're going to just chat about what was happening at the time and why we worked on it, and just fill you in a little bit more about our history as a label and as friends, and what we've made together in this scene over the many, many years. So we're going to start right at the top. We're starting with STORM001, which was the Kittyhawk self-titled EP.
Here it is.
This came out. Do you remember when this came out, Rick?
Maybe like 2012. 2012, because it came out 2013, right? There's no
There's no
information.
date
Oh
on this
my
at all. You didn't put
Jesus.
dates on this thing whatsoever. And I think it was.
It says go fast though.
I think it was. Yeah. I think it was 2013 because
It was, because you're right. That's Pet Symmetry. Everything was coming out. Right
yeah,
then.
we were kind of just doing that,
Yeah.
and then Intersections came out in 2012, and we were moving, stuff like Kate and
Yeah.
I just moved in together. We just got that apartment in Logan Square,
That's right.
and this was shortly after that we managed to chat about this. And I remember Kate coming home. So Kate sang in Kittyhawk. Kate was the singer of Kittyhawk, along with Rick. Yeah, Rick. Actually, you know what?
The history.
Tell me about Kittyhawk.
So yeah, Kittyhawk. Oh man, what year was it? It must have been like 2012. So Dowsing was already a band, And I had met Evan Lorish and Mark Jeschke, who played in a band called the Island of Misfit Toys. I had met
Both of them did.
but both of them were in it. And then I met Kate through you. So this is all like actually pretty much like the beginning of our friendship too. Like, like meeting each other, getting to know each other, meeting at a dowsing show in like 2011, probably.
Yeah, like Petsim maybe just was kind of getting started at the same time.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then we were just one day, I think, talking to Kate, and we were like, I was not prepared for this. Let's make a band.
How are you not prepared?
I don't know.
We've been talking about doing this podcast all week. I was going to ask you about doing how the band started.
I know. I thought about it for a second, and then I got busy. But yeah, and then
you sent me written questions.
I know. So we were talking to Kate, and we're like, Kate, we should make a band. And like, oh no, actually, it started by talking to Delia Hornick, who was in Dowsing, who is married to Marcus Nuccio, who's in Pet Symmetry. If you don't know that. And at the time, Delia was like, "Oh, I want to be in a band like Rainer Maria," and we were all like, "Oh, that's so great!" It was Mark, Evan, and I, and then we asked Kate to be in the band.
You didn't ask Delia
No.
to do it.
I'm sorry, Delia. If you watch this, I'm so sorry.
To be fair, Rainer Maria was like Kate's favorite band.
Yeah,
it was the cross section of two very important bands, I think, to Kate, which were The Anniversary and Rainer Maria.
And yeah, that's true. And then the other thing was like, I wanted, for Mark and Evan, they're already in a band together, but I was like, I want to be in a band with new people.
Yeah,
this
you
is
want to
an
play music
experiment.
with folks you've never played with.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's
Yeah.
That's how I like to start bands also. It's like you see someone whose talent you really appreciate. You're like, I think I could make something really cool with them. Like let's get together and do it.
That's what you do with me.
That's what I did with you.
Yeah, I know. And we're gonna tell
people.
more of these funny stories as we go through
As the
Symmetry
year
and
progresses.
things. Yeah, totally. But for Kittyhawk, yeah, it was basically an outlet for Kate. And then like the interesting thing about Kittyhawk, if you've never heard Kittyhawk before, is that there's no bass guitar. We didn't record a single bass guitar on anything, which kills you.
This is a point of contention for me. It was the one thing I always thought Kittyhawk could have used was a bass player.
Probably needed a bass player.
Or someone playing bass synth. So like whether that be
Yes.
Kate or somebody else. Like I think it could have been really, really cool. And I'm glad in the later years, in the reunion years, that was a thing.
But there was one infamous show. This is jumping a few years, but you played bass for us, and you went, I could play bass for you guys. And how did that go?
I think it went pretty okay.
It was pretty fine.
I think it went pretty fine.
Why did that happen? Why did we do that? Why did we
So
do
you were
it?
playing B Kitchen with someone.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't remember who.
either.
I feel like Brownie Mountain might have played.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kate's keyboard stopped working.
Oh, that's why.
And so like it really like there was literally no low end at all. Like it's just you and Mark playing guitar. And if you're familiar with the band, which if you're not now, you should be after this podcast if you're still listening. But if you're familiar with the band, the guitars are like very pretty, notey, clean tone guitars with no root notes under them. Like they're both playing leads at the same time, and Kate's kind of carrying the melody.
That's right.
And
you're describing this band way better than me, so this is good.
well, because I was a big fan.
Yeah,
like
I know,
when I remember we
that's why we're here.
I know. So here's the long version of how I played bass in Kittyhawk, which I was such a big fan of Kittyhawk. When Kate came home and said that they had started this band with you guys, I thought that was so super cool. I was so glad that Kate was playing music again because they played in a band called Walrus back in the day, which if you can find it, which was really, really good. And I never got to see them. I met Kate after Walrus had ended, and I know she'd always wanted to do more music stuff and had things that she'd been asked to do that had kind of fallen apart. And this was like the first one that like had band practices and was like starting to write songs and stuff. And so she played me the tunes, and I was so into it. It was like one of the first. I mean, I hadn't at that point thought about doing a record label at all. And she played me those songs and was like, immediately I was like, I want to put this out. I want to release this. Like, I'll make this happen because I think this is the coolest fucking thing.
Which is so rad, by the way.
Yeah.
It's rad.
But I loved the songs. I was so into the songs. And so I'd never sat down or played bass with them, but the bass lines, like the actual rhythm root notes are not super hard. I feel like if you know the first couple notes, you're all right. And so at least for me, like just being so familiar with the material. So yeah, Kate's keyboard breaks and I'm like, I can do it. And I ran on stage and and
was that the rat infested keyboard?
Yes.
So yeah, the original keyboard we used was this giant, like heavy.
Oh man,
keyboard.
what was
And
that thing?
I don't remember what it was called, but it was infested with like rat turd, I think.
Yeah,
and
like
that's why like it short circuited.
Before it got to Kate, like
Yeah.
she bought it on Craigslist
Yeah.
or or inherited it, like something crazy. But yeah, they went to fix it and they opened it and there was like dead rats or dead mice inside.
And that's why there's a Kittyhawk. This is we're getting far off from this list. We're gonna bring it back in, but that's why there's a Kittyhawk shirt Ben Sears drew, which Ben Sears did the record label logo.
Yes, Ben Sears drew the logo. So we'll get to that.
He drew the Kittyhawk shirt of mice in a keyboard, and that was the joke. The joke was that Kate's keyboard was infested with
like
rats,
full of mice.
Yeah, so we made a shirt that was reflective of that. Anyway, let's back up. So
she plays me this record.
Yeah,
it's incredible, and it's like I love these songs. I love like it didn't sound like any other band in Chicago at that time. There was no other band that sounded like it. None of our bands sounded like that. So it was like, whoa, like this is super cool. This is on some shit that like will be big. You know, like it felt really, really exciting.
I appreciate that.
So I wanted to do it, and I'd had. So this is a really good opportunity to tell the origin story of the label. So
absolutely.
So when I was in high school, I'd initially talked about doing a label called Storm Chasers. Man, the crickets.
All right, you're good.
Anyway, when I was in high school and going to like screamo and hardcore shows with my buds and my buddy Mike Howard, he was one of the original drummers of Into It Over It, like plays on a lot of the 52-week stuff, and we'd grown up together and always wanted to do something like that where we could release like super limited weird vinyl releases, which was kind of the rage at the time with a lot of screamo labels like Level Plane or Clean Plate, which was like the stuff we were super into. And so we wanted to do that, like kind of like boutique-y vinyl.
I forgot about that because you told me about this once.
So
I remember that.
We had the idea at a diner, which was such a Jersey thing. You know, growing up in New Jersey, we would go to the show and then go to the diner, and we weren't drinking at the time, and so we would just stay up all night talking shit about what we could do. And so we had the idea to call the label Storm Chasers because we had just seen the movie Twister.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always kind of intimidated by the idea of storm chasing. Like, what do we have actual like usable skills? Like that would be kind of a fun thing to pursue. And I forget like even how we got on such a tangent, but we like actually kind of seriously considered it. But we're like, no, let's just start a label. We'll call it that instead. Like that's much, much nicer. So we were going to do a split 7-inch for this band, This Ship Will Sink, which was Tom Schlatter from You and I had played in this band. He's in Sasha now, but he was doing this split set. They were doing a split 7-inch with this band, Is This Real? And Mike and I were on board. We're like, we can make that number one. Like, we love your bands. We'd love to do a 7-inch. Like, this seems like an awesome thing. And then there was kind of like some falling out towards the end where we wanted to do it super limited, and the bands wanted to do something that was a little more readily available. We also couldn't afford something that was like a much larger pressing. We could only really afford to do like 300 to 500 records. And the band wound up choosing a different path. And then Mike and I never did the label. So fast forward, 6 years, or maybe actually more like 10 years, right? Because we were 17, and this was probably 2012. So I'm going to have been like in my late 20s at that point.
Mm-hmm.
This opportunity came up, and I knew exactly what to call the label.
That's incredible. I love it. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, in honor of that idea, like that was always going to be the label name if we were going to have.
But why the meat?
The meat.
Why the meat?
The steak. Well, it's another. So initially, I send the idea to my buddy Ben, and Ben Sears, artist out of Louisville, but he drummed in Xerxes and a few other bands you might know, Black God and Mountain of Sleep.
That's the one, yeah.
And so, I gave Ben kind of the prompt. Here's the label name. Here's what I'm looking for. I wanted something very, like just a symbol. I didn't want to do anything that had any writing around it. I just wanted it to be like a stamp that if you saw it, you knew what it was. And if you knew what it was, you're in the club. But if you didn't know what it was, you'd be like, what? You wouldn't even know what it was called. You wouldn't know what the label name was. You wouldn't know how to find it. Like super boutique shit, right? So gave him the prompt, and the initial sketches and ideas were all cows.
Oh, okay.
They were like drawings of like round, fat, like playful cows.
Do you have those original drawings?
I do. I actually do. We'll see if you could like fly them across the screen right now. I'll try to find them.
Yeah.
But so we had these original ideas and sketches and stuff, and it wasn't clicking. It didn't feel like iconic enough or like just like
Yeah.
mean enough. Like I wanted it to feel a little meaner, not so cute. And but so another name for a record is a platter. And so that was the big. That is what the idea turned into. Is like, can you do just like a big steak?
And he's vegan, right?
He is.
Nice. How cruel. I was
But yeah,
vegan then
it
too.
looks like a steak with a tornado in the center, and I thought that kind of like tied the whole idea together. And it's just remained the symbol.
I love that.
I love steak too, so
It's
it's
well, yeah. I mean, it's
feel
it's
like it represents me.
But it's a fun thing. And talking about the art too, like I love the Storm Chasers logo, and it's good to hear that background and even like the rich history of like how you came up with it. And then I think it's like that Kismet thing, right? Like we were talking about that earlier upstairs, just about Kismet. It makes sense.
Yeah,
This was
it's
the
just like
opportunity.
feels like the right time to
Yeah.
do something, and like the opportunity is there. You might as well grab it.
And we had stuff that we were just like Pet Symmetry was just starting, and we'll talk about that soon. But like there was just stuff that we knew, and like it's kind of like now we're like we have things we want to put out, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the vibe. It's always been like, well, and that was version, let's call it 1.0, right?
It's definitely 1.0.
1.0. So
Yeah.
we're in the 1.0 generation right now. We'll get to 2.0 eventually, and
Yeah,
maybe
there's
we're
a weird,
entering
there's a
3.0.
weirder 2.0, and then
Yeah.
the 3.0 is what we're in right now.
Yeah, we are in 3.0.
It might be like 3.5 right now.
Whoa.
Actually,
Yeah, think about it.
got to think about it.
But yeah,
Have you
let's
thought about it?
let's talk about the art. I actually came up with this art.
This is
And
an Eric
This
Chaya
is-
original.
So what's funny is this is my first. Well, no, it's not my first. So this is the rule. I shouldn't be allowed to have any creative outlet. And
I have not designed. I've not
I know.
designated that rule
but,
for you.
But for art, so the idea was this actually came from a urban planning book. This design.
I
and
remember
it
this.
was like this. It was like this, and I don't know anything about graphic design, so I made it go this way because it's depressing, right? You're going down. And Joe Clomis, who is in Droughts, he helped me do this because I could not figure out how to use like Adobe for my life.
So was it a scan?
It's a scan, and then we did a layer of it so that it was yellow background, and then he added texture to it. So
Yeah.
and then this is my handwriting.
That's
which-
your handwriting.
That is my. I mean, you can't read it, but
I always, for some reason, thought that was Kate's handwriting.
that's the iconic handwriting is mine. Isn't that great? and then Evan Lorish had a typewriter, and he type wrote.
Oh my God!
I'm
God
sorry that
bless
this
him.
doesn't look that good, but we'll have a better image.
Yeah, you can
but,
fire it up.
But yeah, so he did all the typewriting. He did some. He wouldn't admit that he made mistakes. I think he did it for creative choices to have some fun little texture
Oh,
pops
yeah,
there.
he did.
He just
He
did
did
that for fun. He's a genius. He would never mess that
He
up.
would never mess that up.
Yeah, and then of course we didn't put any information about how we. Oh my
Made it.
God,
There's no
his middle name's Gail.
Did you,
Did you know
Evans?
that? Evan, did you know that?
I didn't know that,
I
but
know
that's
that
such
now.
an appropriate middle
Yeah,
name for
that's-
him.
he's
He's
true.
he's so windy.
So
you know,
jolly.
like dark and stormy.
So jolly.
He's dark and stormy. Would you say jolly? I said dark and stormy. He's a gale.
yeah.
It's like a gale force talent.
And yeah, that's true. And then this is interesting. Okay, so it was mastered by Dave Downham at Gradwell.
Yeah.
So Dave did a lot of the early stuff and still
Dave,
does
Dave
stuff
does
for
a lot
us.
of
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
It says-
we've
yeah.
known Dave forever.
Yeah, it says go fast because
Why is that? I've never knew this.
So there's a joke. Evan Lorish used to be like, "You gotta go fast." That was it. That was it. You just gotta go fast.
Then you just say things
just-
and they become
just
they
gotta
just
go
become the
fast.
quote.
So
right?
that we just wrote go fast. Mikey Karate, who's in Dowsing and other bands. Well, he's in Dowsing. He recorded and mixed this at Narnia. So
It was at Narnia?
We recorded this in the living room at Narnia. The
Yes,
drums
tell me
were
about
there.
the recording
Yeah.
of this.
So yeah, we recorded it, the drums and I think just the drums, maybe even the guitars, in the living room. So it's like
Just
a carpeted, the blue carpeted stained room. We moved everything out of the way.
It's like classic Chicago house.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in, it's just big living room right off the bat
Yep.
with couch and a
Plaster wall.
television, plaster walls. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Did it have popcorn ceilings in there?
I can't. I
Dude,
think
I
I've
can't remember.
erased it from my memory.
Oh, so this was Eric's. So for those of you who don't know, which is
Yes.
probably all of you, Narnia was Rick's house for many, many years, and it was 2 doors down from Hot Doug's,
That's right.
which was the best hot dog in the city of Chicago,
In the world.
maybe even
in
the world.
Yeah.
But so Rick lived. Would you live there like 8 years?
Oh, I lived there almost 6 years.
Oh my God.
I too long.
Too
Some
long.
would say too long. It
Shows-
still exists. It still exists.
Well, yeah, they haven't torn it down.
Yeah.
But there's shows in the garage.
Yep.
Hangs in the front. A lot of parties.
Yep.
Yeah, just a really good spot. And
We would pet symmetry practice in the garage.
Yeah, a lot of-
Dowsing.
yeah.
People would leave us notes. And by the end though of the time I was
what
there,
was a note that Narnia would get?
someone was just like, "That's cool," or like, "You guys sound,
It's like
you guys sound
just
good."
the most
Yeah,
sarcastic.
like-
Sounds like you're
Yeah,
having a
yeah.
lot of fun in there.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, no. So there was like, people were nice. Like no one really complained until like when I moved out. That's when it got bad.
It got bad after
Yeah,
you
yeah,
left.
yeah.
Who
When
took
I-
over when you left?
Rig Soul. Their name is Soul now. They have.
You-
They
but
have
you can
had
cut
a few
this out.
names. Well, no, it's okay. No. I mean, they've found their identity, and I'm happy for them. But their name is Soul now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. So
I
they're great.
never knew Soul lived in Narnia.
You might know them by a different name. That's not the Soul you're thinking of.
Oh,
That's why it's confusing.
got it.
It's okay. So, but yeah, no.
Got
So we would record there, and hey, that's just what it is. But it was a good spot.
So Mikey gets you set up with just like a little like 4-track, or what did he have? What did
he had
do?
Pro Tools. He had like he
had
has
the whole deal.
He has a whole deal because he went to school for engineering. So he's recorded Dowsing records. So Sky Coffin, and he did the new record, which is on Storm Chasers. Wink, wink.
Teehee.
And Teehee. And he's recorded Droughts. He's recorded lettering demos. He's recorded Pet Sim demos. He's done a lot of the Kittyhawk
We did Pet Sim
discography.
demos with him around that time.
We did. Yep.
Yeah.
And we did that in the laundry room, I think.
Yes.
Oh my God. Wow. And there's our first promo pictures were in the laundry room of Narnia.
They're in the laundry room.
red.
They're in the bathroom.
Yeah, the red.
We've shot a lot of promo photos in Narnia
Yeah.
throughout the years.
That's
But yeah, so
crazy.
you record this EP.
Yep.
What was the plan? What did you guys think like you were gonna do?
Well, so at first, another label had just started called Skeletal Lightning, and they had just done the Tawny Peaks record.
Okay.
And at the same time,
No, that was no. It's not Skeletal Lightning. It was
that was Skeletal Lightning.
No, you're thinking of.
They did the tape.
Oh, but you also did records with Softspeak.
We did the Christmas record with them.
Yeah, which
So
that
it
was
was-
who did the Tawny Peak stuff.
Oh, okay. So Softspeak. Okay, and this is a hybrid approach, right? So we have a man who does vinyl for us,
Mhm.
and then you have someone who does a cassette for you. So the cassette was done, and it was an alternative version. We'll get that art up on the screen. It was an alternative version of this art.
Of this
It was
art,
just-
what is
it was
Kate drew
water
the
paint.
arrows, right?
Yeah, it was water paint arrows down, and then it was the second release on Skeletal Lightning.
Holy
So-
shit! So you're 1 for Storm Chasers and 2 for Skeletal Lightning.
Yeah.
See, the labels knew. We knew.
They
We
knew.
saw the talent, raw talent. We had to be a part of it.
I'm very grateful because it was a fun ride. Albeit stressful sometimes.
How was it received? Like you, okay, so you put out this demo,
Yeah.
and would you go like it's an EP? I consider it an EP now,
It's
but
an
really
EP,
it's
yeah.
the demo.
It's the
It's
demo.
like, and
Most of the first releases are the demo, right?
totally
Like, some,
like,
most
you know,
for the most
you're
part.
you're
Yeah,
setting up you're setting up for what's to come.
that's right.
And but so tell me about how the band was received initially, and like what kind of opportunities came for the band, and like walk me through the lifespan of the band, because we
man.
didn't get to do anything else with Storm Chasers, so it's how does the Kittyhawk story unfold?
Yeah, after the record, so we had these 5 songs. One is just instrumental with Baby Kate voices on it, so like audio.
What's that
found.
song? That song's called
It's not on
it's
here.
not
because
on it.
it's
Why you didn't even put the
because
name
it's
on the
instrumental.
art?
Oh my God, I think it's called like something science or something.
Science fiction.
See, science fiction. I'm a genius. But okay, so
Let's say do you want to set up things for these songs to get played?
we'll just play them in the background, probably like the whole time.
You could either do that. You could do that, or we could be like, let's listen to. Come on, play me a couple seconds of science fiction right now. Play me like 30 seconds of science fiction.
Hey, super producer Sam, can you add science fiction here? Thank
Just
you so
like
much.
30 seconds of it, and then we'll cut
Yeah.
right back into us talking again.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. we're back. Okay. So anyway, we had these 5 songs, you know, they're our demo essentially. And I feel like Dowsing, like our first 7-inch is basically a demo, you know, like there's stuff
100%.
like that just happens and people love that stuff and we love it too. And I think it definitely, you know, got us to play like Skeletal Lightning Fest, which was a fun thing, you know, to do. And that's the first Pet Sim show. I know I keep talking about Pet Sim, but like
it's all connected.
No, it's all connected.
It's really intertwined. Like all of our bands were so intertwined at that time, and it was a pretty exciting second wave for the kind of Chicago scene that started in 2009 or 10. You know, like this was like the underclassmen who were doing some really, really cool shit. It was like Dowsing Kittyhawk, like that.
Yeah. And we're all doing a million things. I think, and you know what? I'm going to say that's the downfall of Kittyhawk.
Was just everybody's schedule.
Everyone was doing a million things except Kate. Kate was working, you know, and doing other things, which is fine. But I think that, you know, I was doing Dowsing. I was doing Pet Symmetry. I was doing Kittyhawk. I was...
Yeah, you were in 4 bands. You're owning a house venue. Like,
like
I don't know how you didn't implode.
Yeah, it was like, you know, I was out like 8 months of the year, like, and similarly for you, you know, Injured Over It, you know, or
gone all the
Stay
time.
Out of the Weather, you know, just like there. You were doing Pet Symmetry. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, we're both insane.
I didn't have a job though.
We're both insane. Well, I was only
doing music at that time. There was nothing else. So like for me, it was just trying to fill all the time I had with working on stuff. But you guys were like going to school, and Kate was working.
It's true.
I mean, Evan and Mark were in a few other bands, and they were doing school stuff too, I think. And like, you know, it's just a incredibly busy time. We were all so motivated.
That's true. And you know, I think early on too, it's like, you know, a lot of the stuff we did was very DIY, right? Like I was booking a lot of the tours. I did a lot of that for every band I was in for a long time. Except certain instances, I was usually doing a lot of that stuff and making connections and meeting people. And I honestly look back fondly on all that. But you know, like I think that was part of it, was just, you know, the trajectory of Kittyhawk was we can make this band whatever we want, right? Like we can make it as big as we want. But I think that ultimately it was hard to do that because we all had other priorities. We all had other lives, other bands. And, you know, I think that maybe that's the magic of Kittyhawk, right? maybe it's supposed to be lightning in a bottle, and then, you know, you just kind of, you saunter away, you go away.
Saunter?
Okay, saunter.
To me, it's like the great tragedy of Chicago emo is Kittyhawk. It was like, that to me,
I had high hopes.
You know, like I feel like every era around the scene, we always have that one band that's like the championed band, like the band that everybody wants to see win. And right now it's Rat Boys, right? But like,
100%.
But back then in that moment, Kittyhawk was that band. That was the band that everyone was like, this is something new and cool and really has legs and like could be something bigger than what the rest of us are able to do. Yeah. And so to me, watching from the outside, you know, being like just endlessly frustrated with the challenges that you would face, like trying to wrangle 3 cats, which is what Eric was just cat wrangling the whole time.
Yeah, they're cute.
And I say that with love.
Yes,
I say that with love.
Yes.
I love all these people, and yes, we can celebrate that. We can celebrate.
Love is good.
I love it.
Love is good. Oh,
they really go for it.
Yeah, they do.
With the clapping.
They do. But I can stop the clapping.
But it's like, you know, it just felt like, oh man, if they could just all align and they were all motivated in the same way, this could be like one of the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah, and
then there were so many bands that came out like right after that that all really did have this like crazy long-lasting legacy that like could have been where Kittyhawk went. Like I hear that Great Grandpa record and it's like, man, Kittyhawk was like not very far away from getting to what this is.
Add a bass player, magic.
You know, just like if everyone was like, you know, diving in on it the way that like if everyone put in 100%.
Yeah.
It would have been really, really cool. And it was already really, really cool. It would have been like even more really, really cool.
I agree. And you know, and so like what we do after that is what we do what every emo band shouldn't do. We just do bunch of splits. So many splits. Oh, and
hey, I maintain the split strategy.
It was my fault. And yes, you understand. It's a sickness. It's called the split sickness. And you're just like, oh, you know what? What about this band? Let's do a split with Cherry Cola Champions. Let's do the Cherry Cola Champions split. Let's do the Soft Speak Christmas Silver Bells song. Like, I mean, you know, like we did a lot, but it was fun. But like, you know, I'm wrangling the team together. Then we do the full length, which we didn't release. But I think the thing, Hello Again, it's called. But like, you know, the thing I think that's interesting is that a lot of people had a lot of interest in Kittyhawk because of this EP, because of Storm Chasers and what we did together.
I mean,
and
you don't have to.
yeah,
I mean,
well,
you don't have to
no,
toot
no,
the Storm Chasers horn. It was a good band.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
it's
such a
true.
good way to kick off the label. Like
Yeah.
it was a project founded in the principle that I wanted to do the label in, which was working with the homies and putting out the stuff that like they maybe didn't have the
economics
and maybe just support yet, but like
Yeah.
stuff that we knew that was really, really cool. And you know, it also gave me, this was like one of the only releases we did that has kind of like interesting art that was like
let's
in line
let's
with
go
the
back to it.
with the boutiquiness, which I can show you here with this
Yes.
commemorative Kittyhawk plaque.
Yep, here's the plaque. You can see.
So we tried so hard to do things that I was trying so hard to cut costs.
Here, I'll hold this for you.
Yeah,
I can hold this for you.
Hold that for me. I was trying so hard to cut costs with this. Like, for example, I didn't put vinyl labels on the record, so there's no label, center label on the front or back. Also, the B-side, it's a one-sided EP, so the B-side's completely blank.
That's right.
And we didn't use paper inserts. We just had them go directly into these thick plastic inserts with the front. The idea was that a small amount of the records were clear.
You put it
Or
down.
most of the records were clear, I think, weren't they?
They were, I think it was a split.
I think we did like really small amount of black and a really large amount of clear. One or the other.
And if you're one of those lucky people, and you put this in wrong, I think it scratched your record.
No, it was not that.
I don't know.
It was just, you know, it's just you just got to clean it. You know, it gets
That's
all
true.
staticky.
That's
If it's
true.
full of static, it's gonna pop. So
Yeah. We learned lessons. This was this is like our pilot here.
right, we were
This is
figuring
like-
it out.
We're
We were figuring it out,
which
But
is
so
perfect.
If you
for
had the
this.
clear record, though, you could see right through to the other
Which
side
is
of the art,
fun.
which is what I wanted it to be. Like
Yeah.
you pick it up, you'd be like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what is this?" And it caught people's eye. You know, it's like it
Yeah.
was something interesting that wasn't super traditional. Immediately after that one, though, I kind of decided that I would change how we'd made stuff look. And there were a few like
Yeah.
super boutique-y things at the beginning. Like there were a couple zines and handmade CDs and stuff like that.
Who pressed this?
You know what? Also, this is the earliest stages of the label were not pressed in Chicago. They were pressed at Gotta Groove.
Oh, it was Gotta Groove.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Gotta
yeah.
Groove did this one, and
That's cool.
STORM002 was the 7-inch. Gotta Groove did the 7-inch.
Yep.
And then there was a zine was number 3.
Mm-hmm.
There was a CD as number 4, and Intersections was 5. One of those other two, like we worked with Triple Crown on.
Right,
They let me brand it, and then.
These are gonna be fun. These are gonna be fun to talk about.
I
by the
know.
way.
It's a lot of projects. And
Yeah.
we have so much to dive into with so many different bands. Before we go, you know, I think we've covered
What song?
we've covered everything, Kittyhawk.
I think so. I think that we've talked about a really fun project that I was involved in.
Just a super cool band. Just a
I-
really, really cool band. It was my favorite band of Rick's that I don't play in.
And you know what? That's fair. I really do look back on Kittyhawk and see the stuff we did, you know, and in this short amount of time, and it was a really good time.
I'd be psyched if you guys got back together. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but you know, if you
Once.
did,
We did once.
yeah, if you did, I'd be fucking pumped. You know, I think I suggest I love Hello Again. I love the full length. If you can go find it, Count Your Lucky Stars has copies of it. You should buy it. It's a great record. But you know, in terms of this one, you can stream it or download it. The vinyl's long gone. I'm never going to repress it.
No.
And but I think we should play us off with a tune. I think we got to play the hit, which we call the hit, but it's called the first one on the record. And yeah, let's kick it. Let's play the first one for these people.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thanks, guys. This is the record on the record. I don't even remember the other name, so I think on the record.
Rich history.
Rich history.
Tell us later.
Tell us later what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time for episode number 2.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.